Orofo, another breaking news, Kessie Pan, and Meden Yabrem, our Ghana to the four. Way straight from London, UK, Abrochimem, London court, Pan, Obekai, PDS, any ECG for a court case, no PDS, any ECG, any Ghana buying echo court, Orofo, any Ghana no Modia court, or Modia court, international court, our London, Orofo, eja inyaba bedu aye PDS versus ECG aye court case na London Ghana odofo ye winning Ghana yetumi ye winning sa case no over PDS odofo breaking news kese pan abeto Ghana ye winning aye PDS versus ECG for aye court case na London we breaking news abeto dwa see aban ne see sike bia chese obi agi efie nsemu no omo medit scan nyina no e be recover sa scan nyidofo this year ni PDS versus ECG for case no our model court international court London court no Ghana ye dibem Ghana ye ntuma pa ifra Ghana ye ruling in Ghana's favor and this year Ghana ye winning sa court case no odofo when e breaking news abeto dwa mitubedi nyina bro Ghana chodofo banko ne agodi sanse mu nyina nchemu ne mbra isi Ghanatube so.
Now, government says it will take all administrative and legal steps to recover any assets due ECG and the state over contractual dealings with Power Distribution Service, PDS. It follows a favorable determination by the London International Court of Arbitration over disputes which arose over the botched power concession agreement in 2019. PDS dragged ECG and the government of Ghana to the International Court, arguing the country breached terms of the agreement in the decision to terminate the concession agreement between the two. Well, in the last 24 hours, a determination has come through from the London International Court of Arbitration, bringing to an end the near 5-year legal tussle. Let's walk you through some bits of the proceedings and then the details and the outcome as we have been made aware of via documentation from the London Court of International Arbitration. And we're going straight onto the dashboard and then glimpses really of what this means going forward. And then we'll look at as well the Energy Ministry and their reaction to all of this in the last 24 hours. And so of the many things that came up, the tribunal's key findings included that one, whether or not PDS's claims were dismissed entirely. That conclusion was very straightforward. It was something that was arrived at plainly if you read bits and pieces of the judgment. It says the tribunal ruled that PDS had no valid basis for compensation or damages. Also, the second finding, the demand guarantees were declared void ab initio, invalid from the outset. And if you remember, going back in the day, there was the back and forth, guarantees precedent, guarantees subsequent, and what have you, which dominated a lot of the conversation in the aftermath of the termination of the agreement by the government. This is what the Court of Arbitration arrived at, that under both Ghanaian and Qatari law, the guarantees were never legally binding. They go on to say that fraud involving Al-Qut insurance officials invalidated the guarantees. The tribunal found no evidence of fraud or malfeasance by PDS, but still ruled the guarantees void due to the fraud of third parties. Again, on conditions precedents 24 and 31, they arrived at they were not satisfied or waived. And under these conditions precedents related to providing valid payment securities under the BSA and LLA, and we'll get to understand what the both of them of that means shortly. Their non-fulfillment meant the agreement never reached operational phases, and ECG was entitled to terminate the lease and assignment agreement and bulk supply agreement, which was between the two companies, and the tribunal confirmed that ECG indeed lawfully terminated the agreement. And the transfer dates confirmation letter was also a subject of interrogation by the tribunal. They arrived at the fact that it was found that it was voidable for common mistake, not for misrepresentation, and ECG properly rescinded it through its letters of 30th July and 23rd October 2019. On jurisdiction, well, matters of jurisdiction came up as well. But let's go a bit more into details as to the LAA and then the BSA. And so the LLA was the main contract between Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, and then Power Distribution Services. It is what allowed PDS to lease, manage, and operate ECG's electricity distribution assets for that 20-year period. So substations, the lines, equipment, etc., for a 20-year period. And then there was a BSA, which was a bulk supply agreement, which saw to it that under this, ECG as a power supplier would sell electricity to PDS, which would then distribute and sell to its customers. Because of the many things we're seeking to do, and it is one of the things which has come up under this administration, which is currently going through a number of processes before cabinet, is leasing a concession of some sort where the sale of electricity and its distribution will be taken over by a private company to enable us raking the needed revenue amongst many other things. There is a statement that's come through as well from the, I get the indication that that's not here with us just as now, from the Energy Ministry, as with a reaction to the development which has come through. I'm just going to walk you through that as well, because the ministry says that they've taken note that this situation, which is the arbitration, should never have arisen in the first place. They say that the poor decisions during the selection and approval process of a concessionaire at the time, leading to the formation of PDS under the previous administration, directly contributed to what it is that we have seen today, and that the country, Ghana, lost $190 million in the Millennium Compact funding from the U.S. Millennium Challenge Corporation in 2019 as a result of those decisions. Then the assurance comes that they will use all necessary legal and administrative steps to recover any amounts due to ECG and the state as a result of the process. We're hoping as well to connect with Richmond Roxon and pick his thoughts as to this. He signed that Energy Ministry letter. A number of you have shared concerns from time immemorial about some monies or revenue which PDS had collected and was not repatriated back to the state when the agreement was terminated. We will seek to find out whether that indeed is the case, and whether or not that forms a part of all of the binding monetary agreement we're supposed to be receiving from PDS. But if you read the arbitration document as well, just some minor cost as well was afforded to us by the tribunal as well. Mr. Richmond Roxon has joined us. He's head of communications for the Energy Ministry. He's joined us via the phones. Let's connect with him right now. Richmond, I appreciate you joining us. From the start, this comes off as very good news to the government, considering there will be no concern about judgment debt going forward. But talk to us about this legal and administrative steps you say you're going to be taking to recover all assets belonging to the state from PDS.
Let me say good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your cherished friends. This is good news. The government welcomes this decision. In the first place, we shouldn't have been here. We believe that if the processes commenced a couple of years back by His Excellency the President in his first term, if that administration, previous administration had continued, I'm sure that today we would have seen a better ECG, where we wouldn't have lost $190 million, and we wouldn't have been engaged in these needless legal battles. Don't forget that this is not the first legal issue that ECG had to deal with. In 2019, PDS sued after the government itself came to the realization that the demand guarantee that was provided was fraudulent. And this is because the government had abandoned the detailed process, which had led to a number of reputable companies come on board to partner with ECG to improve the system. And so we rest assured that, one, this kind of process will not happen again, the process where people's personal interest, selfishness, and greed takes interest ahead of national interest should never happen. And for the administrative steps, the Office of the Attorney General obviously will brief the nation on that. Obviously, will be in court, and then also take administrative steps to recover all monies to ECG. Don't forget that within the period, the revenues that PDS collected are still sitting with PDS. And those monies are not for PDS. Those monies are the bona fide property of ECG, and that you have the assurances of government that every single penny with PDS will be recovered by the country.
I was going to go into the assets. You've mentioned a bit of it, a huge chunk of it, which was revenue collected. Beyond revenue collected, are there any other lingering assets in the possession of PDS which the Attorney General and your ministry will be seeking to appropriate back onto the state?
Yes, some of them, but at this point in time, I would decide to leave those conversations for the Office of the Attorney General. Even though I'm a lawyer, it's a legal steps that the states must initiate. If you look at Article 88, it falls perfectly under the purview of the Honorable Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And so I wouldn't want to go into that. But you have the assurances of government that once this arbitration is over, once PDS's claims have been entirely dismissed, once the arbitration day commenced has confirmed that the demand guarantees were void ab initio, he assures that the Attorney General's office will act and recover every asset in possession of people.
Well, on the subject matter of concessions, the ministry is undertaking consultations at different levels for a new possible concession agreement. We're seeking to lease some portions of ECG's distribution services, amongst many other things. There were 3 proposals which were put on the table as of the last time I was at the ministry personally. Has there been progress made on that front now that we know that the chapter of PDS is completely behind us?
Like the Honorable Minister reiterated some time back, the government has approval. You have cabinet giving approval that you should have private in the billing and collection.
Hello, Mr. Oxen, I'm losing you a bit. If you could kindly just, I don't know, position yourself possibly, or perhaps project a bit more so that if it's the line that's been faint, we can get.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, it's a lot better now.
And so the government to cabinet that they should probably set up the billing and collection of ECG, like it's getting initiated, and selected will be announced by the Ministry of Energy. But assurances you have is that we will not have cannibalized again like what we've seen at that period. That's what I can assure you.
Right then, Mr. Roxon, we'll leave it here. I appreciate you speaking to us this afternoon, and that's Richmond Roxon. He speaks for the Energy Ministry and joining us, but also just by way of a reiteration of the position of the Energy Ministry again in relation.
Out of 4 when breaking news, I told you I'm beginning in our Ghanatube. Just say PDS any ECG for omun tawan na course so na ekopi mo court no PDS eguku nsem no anase case no e de call London International Court so mun kodi aserofo tisi an ejebo eja enya ba bedu Ghana etumi edi nkunim against PDS and tisi anu Ghana yesi sika bia PDS for edi eka bia no ye ba beji ni nyina John Dramani Mahama say Ekabia PDS for omudi ECG for biano ye baba jisa sika nyina e de ama oman no ne de sesi oman no dofo we ana PDS versus ECG for case na chese Ghana etumi edi nkunim over PDS odofo we na breaking news abeto dwa chese ni nyina beto dwa me so begi ni nyina bro ewo Ghanatube this year an OCE Ghana atadu yate den ne nti we breaking news abeto dwa PDS versus ECG for gates no odofo Ghana yedi nkunim odofo mamro efise be like na ma subscribe na ma share na ma hit notification board so ma say the be abrini abibia do pe content say ya wo ja ne tempa no ahwere ti no odofo aha na me breaking news nya besi Ghanatube so odofo makra mu nyina Madam Nancy Bebre.